So, welcome everyone. We're starting with our new session with İhsan. It's exciting to have him here. And we're going to start with a small presentation, but before doing that, İhsan, it'd be great if you start with an introduction of yourself and let everyone know what you do.
Sure. I have started my business life as a professional in an energy company, in one of the biggest company in Turkey, Koç Group. So I have started in a human resources department, then the dealer development department, then sales, then marketing. So I did lots of things in the professional lives. Then I did my MBA, executive MBA, and our last lecture about entrepreneurship. Then I met one classmate, so we decided to start a business. Then after the executive MBA, I quitted my professional life and I have started my business with my co-founder. Then it was a really good journey and a bad journey at the same time. Then we moved to LA, Los Angeles. End of the story, we exited in the US. We sold our company. Then I launched almost the first accelerator program in Turkey, which is called Girişim Fabrikası. In English, you can say that Fit Startup Factory in 2011. Then under the Özyeğin University, so I'm at the same time head of entrepreneurship center of university. Still, I'm in the university last 10 years. But last 5 and 6 years, I have a company which is called Core Strategy. Our company helping to the big corporates do something inside of the company about entrepreneurship, which is called corporate entrepreneurship. But at the same time, we are helping them do a startup engagement, do a partnership with the startups or invest the startups, sometimes acquire the startups. That's my main company doing a business. And the last thing, I'm running a corporate venture capital, which is called the Finberg. This is the corporate venture capital arm of the FIBA Bank, which is the group of the FIBA Holding. So we are investing to financial technology startups last 3 years. We already spent $25 million. So invested 10 companies in Turkey. That's it, actually.
This is actually great. So you're basically through the whole supply chain of innovation, like internally, externally, open innovation, and which is why I'm super curious about your thoughts on the whole process. If you like, we can also start with the presentation that you showed, and then go on with the questions.
Actually, the presentation is not really important. Whenever you ask the questions, I will try to show something through presentation. If you like, you can start with questions.
Perfect.
Which is better.
Then maybe let's start with something to just give an overview about how the whole situation is like right now. With your, especially because of your background in corporates and companies, maybe we can start with that side. So usually on the outside as an entrepreneur, when you look at it, it might seem that, okay, companies are slow, they can't do innovation that easily, and you're doing something so contrary to this, actually accelerating them, speeding them up. Yeah. So with the work that you're doing right now, what are the trends that you're seeing? What are the opportunities that you're seeing? And maybe what are some things that are exciting you right now?
Okay, great. It's a great question. Actually, the corporates, you are right. They have started to do something about the innovation side last, 15 years ago approximately. But they just understood that, innovation is just a creative ideas. That's it. Then they saw that it didn't work. Then they decided to open a department which is called R&D, Research and Development. And they just thought that it's going to work this time because the innovation, just the idea side didn't work. Then the R&D side, we will do it. But still, they couldn't have any commercialized ideas, that they don't have any innovative ideas on the shelves. They can't make money through that. Then they stopped to do anything about innovation. But at the same time, they can see the entrepreneurs doing something based on innovation, sometimes on business models, sometimes the product side, and the minimum resources, When I say the resource, I try to mention that the human effort, capital, time, and they make it. So they started to think about that. What is the differentiation between we and them? Then they understood entrepreneurship has a different methodology about innovation, which makes innovation work. Then they started to internalize the entrepreneurship methodologies, which can be, lean startup, customer development philosophy, business model canvas, then the design thinking, lots of the tools. They started to use them to make an innovation, but they still have a problem about that, and they decide that it's better to concentrate digitalization more than innovation. It's easier because we have lots of business in a manual way, so we can make them digital. Then it's better for us. Then they focus on only making a websites. Then they said it's not enough, and they created sales sites. Again, websites, but they can sell their products with a mobile app or through website. But they say, we can do it, but still, when we do this, we are similar with our competitors. We need an innovation. Then they decided to, we need to do the partnership with the startups. It can be investment or it can be a strategic partnership, but we need to work them to gain these issues. So, and the pandemic helped it. Corporate innovation getting more important because they need to change faster than ever. So I would like to show you one screen, if you let me.
That'd be good.
Yep. Actually, can you see? It's an easy, basic slide. I don't know. Maybe it's 40 years old or 50 years old. It's a typical product life cycle. You can introduce your product, then growth, then maturity, then decline. If you're a company with a one main product or the one group of the products, you will have the same journey. So because of that, you need an innovation. After the growth side, when you are in the maturity, you need an innovation and innovation and innovation. But if you do something in an innovative way, you will have a different picture than this. Why? Because it's not that clear. It's not that easy. You see, maybe that it's a Crossing the Chasm. It's a popular actual book. So it says that if you want to do something innovative way, you have a two big chasm. One of them is called smaller chasm. The other one's called the big scary chasm. So why I'm showing this picture, they understand that if we are trying to do one thing, if we lose them, we lose all the time, because this picture says that if we have started with the 10 ideas, just one of them go to the early majority and to the crowd. So after this picture, they aware that we need an innovation portfolio, lots of innovations at the same time. So after this mindset, they said, some of the ideas can die in the smaller chasm, more ideas can die in the big chasm. So we need a portfolio. But doing a big portfolio, lots of new ideas to try, there was a challenge about corporates. They don't have enough time because they are doing a daily business at the same time. They don't have enough capital because they're always doing something about promotion, the marketing, dealing with the competition. So that's why they said, we need ways to do innovations, lots of innovations at the same time, minimum effort and the minimum resources. So that's why they move actually this picture. I like that picture very much. This picture shows that, innovation, it's not a linear, it's a exponential, which means that it's not going like this you see on the picture, the graph. Innovation going like that. Because of that, we usually has a gap over here, which means this is the company adaptation, this is the innovation. So we usually, when the innovation at A, we are in the B1. So means that there is a gap over here. So they understood as a strategy, we need two main things. One of them, we can learn faster and manage smarter before something happening, and we can go faster through A1 to A to catch the innovation as a company. Or the second way, if we are too late to do it, we need to jump over here, you see, B1 to A. So we need a startups who has the competencies, who has innovation ideas, or who has a different guys, the culture, the products, then we can jump over here. Right now in the world, because of the pandemic, they need to do it really, really faster. They can't do it through the corporate entrepreneurship and other ideas. So they need to jump. So that's why last 2-3 years, as entrepreneurs like you, has a big opportunity to work with the big corporates, do something together, reach their customers, and work with them with their cash and all the capabilities. So that's the picture right now happening in the world, based on corporate innovation side, at the same time startup side doing something together with the corporates.
That's perfect. Just maybe to simplify the last thing that you mentioned for our listeners as well. Please correct me if I explain it wrong.
Sure.
So while innovation is being commercialized, especially on startup side or from like small locations around the world, usually the point that a corporate is aware of them is when they've already commercialized and passed the point of being able to catch up to. And so what we're trying to do is to create the awareness and the action inside the companies or corporations before it gets to that commercialization stage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay,
that's
perfect.
right. That's right. How can they do it? They need an innovation strategy. They need a entrepreneurship strategy before something happened. Based on this strategy, they said, okay, I needed these muscles in 2 years. I needed these competencies in 4 years. Or this is the new business model innovation opportunities. So I need this and this before something happened. They need more agile, but because of the corporate structure, they can do it by themselves. So they need to do something is before something commercialized. That's why they are trying to corporate incubation more, corporate explorations, corporate incubations. Why it's getting more popular? Because of that.
Perfect. Now coming to the point, after having an image of like how it's going, what's going on inside, you also mentioned that you're working on with corporations to create CVC, to create collaborations with startups and start these as well. And on that side, like specifically on how they're collaborating with startups or how they're starting to invest on startups, what are the challenges and the developments that you're seeing right now?
Actually, of course, the biggest challenge is some of the corporates doing that because of it's popular. That's the biggest challenge. They are doing it because of the public relations, PR issue, They want to show themselves as a fancy, and at the same time, they want to catch the new, young population as an employee. They need to show something attractive. That's the main problem, actually. But the second thing, when they decide to do real things with the startups, the main obstacle is one thing is entrepreneurs, founders, they don't know how to deal with the corporates. They don't know their language. They don't know how to prepare to do some business with them more structured way. Why? Because they are usually coming from directly the entrepreneur through university after university, so they didn't have any chance to be in the business life. Sometimes, of course, we have lots of exceptions, but most of them they don't know how to write a business mail as a language. These are the challenge side for the corporate side. But entrepreneur side. But the corporate side is they usually create a department out of the business units. Then when the entrepreneurs start to talk with them, first they are meeting with these guys from entrepreneurship and the innovation department. Then they show them the business department. They then go to the technology department. Then they go to the procurement department. So there isn't any one decision maker. All of what they has different ideas. So in this bureaucracy, of course, they lost lots of times as an entrepreneur, which is the most important thing for an entrepreneur, the time and the motivation. So they are losing in this process. This is the biggest obstacle. When they align with the business, units in this organization, it's getting better. And the third thing, they don't have the strategy. They don't define the process before. If we like this company, Yashar's company, what are the possibilities we can do? Partnership, investment. If it's a partnership, it has to be an exclusive partnership. If it's an exclusive partnership, we usually do the revenue share. They need to, have these possibilities and the main procedures before starting this, make it easier. And the last important part, they don't have any environments like a sandbox, we call it, or a different. How can we do the minimum viable product, MVP, to see proof of concept? We can do it something together. They don't want to share anything with the entrepreneur startup. And they ask, do some prototype. How can they do it? If you don't share your information, you don't have APIs or the environment. So that's the last point. It's important obstacle.
Now, when you talk about, so there are 2 points of this. There's a corporate side and there's an entrepreneur side. On the entrepreneur side, what are a few things that you think, are you connected? Okay. So on the entrepreneur side and startup side, what are a few things that you think they should know before approaching a corporate, or they should learn before coming to a company and say, okay, we want to work with you, and this is our technology, this is our product, and so what should we do next?
The good question. Actually, the first part, what they need to clarify, why this company needs your product. How are they going to use? What is their winning strategy? Or what are they going to leverage about you? As a startup, they need to leverage some of the parts. So it can be your product directly. Sometimes it can be your technology. If you have an IP, like a patent, they can use your patent. So why they need you? Be clear about that, okay? The second part, who is the right guy? You need to touch base. It has to be a procurement department guy, or it can be a technology guy, or the business unit guy. Who will be the right guy you need? And after this, usually corporate guys, not that they're always in the comfort zone, okay? They don't think too much about the possibilities. If you go down to ready, I want to do, I can give an example. You have an app, okay, which is a good app or gaming app, whatever it is. So you want to go to the Turkcell or the Türk Telekom, Vodafone. So what can be your offer? You need to clarify your offer. You can go Vodafone and say them, okay, I have a good gaming app or a different app. So you have 20 million customers. So if I want to reach your consumers via Vodafone, and you will have the engagement. Also, my app has some, app in sales, the revenue models, so you can make money through that, blah, blah, or you can put your product inside of my app. So you need to put some value proposition for them, also for their customers. Because usually, if you want to do something with the corporates, you have two choices. One of them, if you are a B2B company, you are trying to sell them. Or if you are a B2C company as a startup, you need to reach their consumers. So what do you want? Do you want to use my showrooms? Do you want to use my factory? So you need to make it so clear. You have the 5 different points you can use from the corporates. One of them is, of course, their money, cash. Second one, maybe they have a domain expertise, and you need that domain expertise in the industry. So you need their human resources. Third one, maybe you need a physical assets, 3D printers or some factorial things. The fourth one, maybe they have IP. It can be a patent or a different IPs. You need their IPs. And Last point, we call it know-how, but it's similar to the IP, and maybe it can be a know-how. But first thing, you should clarify what do you need from them. Second thing, you should clarify what is your value proposition. And the last thing, who is right guy to touch base, who is going to be a decision maker. Because if you couldn't find them, you lose yourself inside of the company. Everybody needs different things. Technology guy says, no, not this value proposition, I need this. Other one says, no, the price is important. Other one say, everybody will say different things. So you need to know who is going to be a right guy, make the decision.
Perfect. Now that you touched upon it, one of the questions that have come is also related to this. So when we talk about decision makers, like Bahar is asking, would you please give us some advice on building relationship with corporate decision makers? With this question, there's two layers to it when you think about it. First one is that when we talk about the decision maker, there is the hierarchy part, like how high up the ladder they are inside the company. The second one is on the expertise. So the department that's related to you. How would you suggest startups to figure out, or how could they learn who to approach?
Okay, good question. Actually, in the customer side, I call it customer ecosystem. In the business, if you go to corporates, you need to aware that there will be a customer ecosystem. What is a customer ecosystem? First of all, there will be a users who is going to use your product. Giving an example, Salesforce. If you are selling Salesforce, which is a CRM tool for sales team, to a company, who is going to be user? Of course, the sales team. They are going to use your product daily base when they are in the customer, when they are at the office. So that's the one point. The user, you need to define the user. The second one, who is going to be a buyer? Procurement department or the technology department? You need to clarify it. So that's the second part of the ecosystem, economic buyer. Then the third one, who will be the supporter? When they buy something like this, which department or which guy they are asking their opinion? Sometimes it can be a supplier, but sometimes it's a guy inside of the company who is responsible about MIS, management information system, or IT, or big data, whatever. We call them the supporter. And the other one, the decision maker, can be if it's a small company, can be the boss, of course. If it's a little bit company, can be a general manager. But it's the more bigger company, can be a vice president. They are the head of the business unit. So who is going to be a decision maker? Who is going to be an economic buyer? Who is going to be a decision supporter? And who is going to be a user? And the last part to know that, who is going to be a sabotager? We call it sabotage. Somebody in the company always trying to sabotage the ideas. But first of all, you need to understand these five. Then understand what are they looking for, what's important for them, and try to be see in the company who is the strongest one. Usually, of course, user side, it's so important for you, your product's UX, usability. And this economic buyer, important for your pricing. So the supporter, sometimes they are looking to the APIs, engagements with the technologies inside of the company, so you need to understand. So that's the team actually. So, but if you are asking me who is the first to reach, the user, then go through user inside of the company. But you have to understand these five guys and what are their expectations.
Following up with this, how do you think Bahar's question comes to like we should meet with the users first. And when we try to meet with the users inside the company, I'm also going to connect this to a point that you mentioned a bit earlier, that when you go to the company, they don't like to think about what's going to be other than like what's just in front of them. So when you go to the user, you should give a straight offer, but at the same time, you want to be able to understand their needs and maybe modify or have a conversation on how to adjust your product to them better, if I'm understanding correctly. And this also comes at the time that you're trying to build a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
So in order, how would you build a relationship with this user group that is inside the company?
Mm-hmm.
And how would you start the discussion on maybe creating a small sandbox, even if possible, on testing your product?
Okay, good question, and it's of course based on my experience. I'm answering the question. These are not academic answers. I need to emphasize that. But I am the B2B sales guy, for all my lives. I always selling as a consulting business or a different size, so as always selling something to them. So I first of all I need to talk about one point. You say the adjustment. It's important part. It's little bit tricky. What I am trying to say, when you are trying to sell something to the B, they're always expecting too much things. Okay, so it's challenging. If you are trying to make your product or solution so personalized, customized for this business, for this company, you spend too much time. And end of the story, you create the product, it's just for them. But what's important for as an entrepreneur? Scalability. So you need to catch scalability. You need to sell same product more than 1, 2, 3. Not doing any customization if you are not a project company. Okay, if you're a product company. As an entrepreneur, you need to be a more product company to raise money, to create a valuation for everything. So what is the important part? You need to, first of all, when you are designing your product or your solution, the pricing and everything, you need to do this corporate interviews, at least 15, 20 of them. Then see all expectations with the different customer segments and try to find the common and important ones. Then just adjust your idea based on this group, okay? Not make it for everyone. That's the so important part. That's why I just want to mention that, because usually it's really tricky. You lose yourself in this company because you are trying to sell, we call it elephant sales. You are trying to make big money from one corporate. Then you try to change your product, change your pricing, everything functions. Then, okay, you sold it. But with these functions, with these efforts, the other ones, they don't want it. So what are you going to do? You're going to, again, change your product? No, of course, it's important. So for the relation is actually it's a little bit challenging question. But in my experience, I learned that these corporate people likes the people who has content, okay, who has a knowledge. If you are trying to be a seller, you can never sell anything. Try to make yourself, in the B2B sales part I'm talking, as a consultant. Consultant selling technology is the best method of building a relation first, then sell your product. Because when you go to some corporates and try to sell, that's my product, that's my function, it's not. First of all, you need to ask them, what are they trying to achieve? What are their pains today? Which solutions are they using? Why are not happy that solutions? Make sure about their pain points. Then try to show your solution to match with these pain points. Which functions or in your solution solving this problem or pain points of the customer they have today. But not try to sell. If you want to create a relation, first of all, try to understand them. Second of all, show them your content or your wisdom, your knowledge about this idea, not specifically your product in this industry, in this problem. Talk about that. After that, when you catch the good relation, they respect you, then put your product inside of the game.
Thanks a lot, İhsan. We're almost at the end of the session, but before leaving, I want to ask one last question.
Sure.
And this is, with the current situation of maybe Turkish ecosystem, I know that you're active here, and like, where do you see this corporate startup collaborations going? Is it growing? Is it getting better? And is there something that excites you about these changes?
Sure. It's increasing all over the world, also in Turkey, because I can give an example. In Turkey last year, if you looked at all the investments in the startup ecosystem, just 25% of investments made by the corporates. So 5 years ago, it was 5%. Before that, it was 0%. So 5 years ago, then 10%, 5%, today 25%. It's increasing very strongly. But I need to show last slide. Do we have 30 minutes? I'm sorry, 30 seconds? Or it's
Sure.
done? Yeah, okay. That's the last part I need to show the people about the right mindset to be innovative and to catch the growth, okay? Just two things. One of them is, we are coming all over the world, coming from the industrial models. That's why we are thinking linear way, which I showed you. But today, digital models and innovations are exponential. So what has to be changed in our mindset? Two things. First, our aim should be making something different, not making something better. If you think that, how can I make it better? It's not good for entrepreneurs. You need to focus on how can I make it this different way, not better way, different way. And second question, after started your business, you need that first question when you are starting business. Second question, when you have started your business, how can I increase this growth 5 times bigger, 10 times bigger? Not ask yourself, how can I increase my sales 20%, 10%? The right question, how can I make it 5 times bigger, 10 times bigger? Because of that reason, you need to be a big vision, but you need to accept it's going to be uncertainty for the launch period. You can see over here. Then you need the courage because the numbers going slowly. You see here because of this exponential curve. You need to be patient. Then you will see the growth, agility. So that's the main thing I need to focus. Did you see the picture or I didn't share it?
No, the presentation didn't come up.
Oops, really? But you understand what I explained, right?
Yes, it was very clear.
Okay, got it. Because screen sharing was canceled, that's why I couldn't do it. Okay, no problem. But
Okay.
you catched my questions. Making something better. No, we should focus on making something different. 10%, 20% growth. No, we need to find a way. How can I make it 5 times bigger?
This is a great message to leave with our listeners. And thanks a lot for coming. Would you like to share any last words before we close the session for our entrepreneurs?
Yeah, actually, the one point, you need to find something which inspire you, not inspire others. Please focus on that. This idea make me excited. That's the first thing. Then, I'm sure there will be lots of uncertainties because it's an innovation. So just try, but try the short things, see the results, change the idea, or change some parts of the idea. Try it again. That's the best way to do
innovation with corporations. Thanks a lot. This was amazing. It was great to be with you, İhsan. And thanks a lot for sharing your time here. I hope everyone who listened enjoyed this as much as I did. And hope you have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you very much. See you all. Good night.
See you all. Bye-bye.